So yeah, my name is Robbin Hoogstraten. I'm working at Symbid. I'm responsible for analyzing business plans, talking about equity funding specifically, so to see if people are able to get in equity funding. And that's my role, and that's why I'm also here as expert. Expert, right?
Mm-hmm. My name is Bree. I'm a former banker, and I help companies to grow and to stay afloat. And I write books about that so that people can have a bigger chance to become a success. And I'm especially looking at how to organize your company, how to organize your startup, and how to stop in time.
The topic of May has been Get Growing. In your opinion, what is Get Growing about?
That's a funny one, because I think that today we summarized that part the best, well, at least in my opinion, because we had a couple of sessions, of course, over the Thursdays, but today we were talking about some of the statements, what actually growth is about. And it really varies per situation, but Get Growing is it's about the people, and it's about what you actually do. Are you solving a real problem? Are you able to grow? Well, today was a session Cut Out the Crap, where we talked with a lot of entrepreneurs who wanted to grow, but some of them should just hear that they should stop being an entrepreneur at all and just do other things or pivot or whatever, and then be able to grow. For me, that would be about Get Growing. Know yourself and know when it's time to grow.
Yeah, I think it went pretty well. What I really liked about today also, because we called it the Cut the Crap session, I think it went pretty well, is that we said, okay, well, forget all the other stuff, look at, who's going to pay for this. And who really has a problem, and not only a problem, but also a problem that he or she actually want to pay for. And we also discussed, I think, very easily about, you want to grow in what? Do you want to grow in sales? Do you want to grow in revenues? Do you want to have a big office? Do you want to have more personnel, etc., etc.? And I think that was one of the main things of today, just to ask also to people, what do you actually want, and focus on yourself, be coachable, and stop looking at all the hypes and all the things that other people say that you have to do. And I think one of the other stuff which was really nice today, I think, is that almost everybody understood that the most important thing is with whom are you doing it.
Choose the right people.
Choose the right people. How do you choose the investors? How do you choose your partners? There will be a moment probably that you should say to yourself, like you said, Robbin, I should stop. And that's what I think was really nice about today.
This month you share a lot of your knowledge, but is there also something you have taken away from the Get Growing month that you advised?
Personally, it's always nice to think about these kinds of topics with like-minded people. So that's the first thing, with Tony, with Liduina from Unique, to really think about these themes. What is actually relevant nowadays? How are we looking to the industry? So for me, that was a valuable thing, to not only help entrepreneurs with it, but to also talk with others what we should do in helping the entrepreneurs. And in terms of business, I don't know. Let's see if people reach out or whatever happens. I'm always open for people if they ask questions, and I think that we answered some relevant ones here, but it doesn't stop after today, of course, growing. So let's see if they still want to know more.
Yeah. Well, what I liked about the sessions was that I think that it's nice to surprise people. Yeah. And I strongly believe in providing things to people, not to the crowd, but people that understand it. And what I really liked is that we tried different things, yeah. And what I learned is that you actually have to be yourself, yeah. And if you can give that message to somebody else, is don't try to be like somebody else, So why should you pivot? Why should you have an MPV? And I think the most important things for yourself is that you ask yourself all the time, why am I actually doing this? And that's what I really liked about a number of these sessions, is that you also try to get yourself, but also other people, out of your comfort zone.
And that helps also to get a little bit of a discussion up and going, and to have a pure reaction from people, which is not scripted, I would say. Because for instance, now we of course we had a slide deck today which we worked through, but it was a really open session. We shared how we thought about it. Personally, and professionally. And that also opened up some discussions with some of the people in the room, which were about their personal opinion, about their professional opinion. It was really nice to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, what I also liked is that I like to do things together with people, so I thought it was a lot of fun, especially between you and me today, because it's like a kind of partnership, and you get a different kind of different kind of atmosphere. And what I also liked is that I now start to see here certain people come back. So you get a kind of audience of people that say, okay, if I want to hear things that are out of the whatever, then I'm going to go there, which I think is great. And I also like that for you in Venture Cafe is that you have subgroups. We talked about it also in our pre-session. Is that you have people that are just coming here for drinks. You got people that are in an idea stage. You got people that keep on repeating themselves with nice business plans, but there's nothing in there. So it might be an opportunity to focus on certain kind of topics with certain kind of people with certain kind of problems, and really help people along. And sometimes it's investment, and sometimes it's themselves, and sometimes it's something else. I actually like the fact that for me the growing month is also about growing yourself.
Yeah. So developing.
And learning and be surprised. So I was surprised several times, so that's always nice.
Both of you have been quite active with hosting sessions in the past at Venture Cafe, and the last half year you particularly, Tony, have been hosting quite regularly session at Venture Cafe. Is that something you noticed back when you were here as an expert helping out with a program like you have done this month?
Yeah, sure. I think that's what I really think is nice about everybody as a person. I think that you have to find what it is, what makes you special. That's the stuff that I always say to people. It doesn't really matter what it is. So it's for me. It's not just like a kind of following, but I remember who the people are.
And then they did something right, or at least you had a good conversation.
And you had a connection with people. So what I really like is that people now tell me, it doesn't really matter what you're saying. I get a lot of energy out of you, which I think is nice. So the last time in the middle of the session, somebody asked me, where do you get all the energy from? And I explained to her why that was. So for me, it's not like having a following, because I'm not Jesus down from the cross, but it's more like, are you able to connect with people, and are you able to talk with people that are willing to listen and to give what they have to give, because I learn from them. So we were talking about that with some other people also, is that what I remember from my times at ABN AMRO, when we were talking about investing, the first question was, are you coachable? And if the person doesn't want to listen, and I still do that now, then it's out. So it's not arrogance, but if you don't want to learn and you don't want to listen, independent of your age, then in my book, you're out. But also in the professional investor world, you're out. So I think that's nice.
You, Robin, were here last year preparing startup for the Rotterdam Capital Days. Is it something you notice a difference in doing a series of events like you did last year in comparison to being an advisory position like you have done for the Get Growing Month this month?
Yeah, the fun thing is that when I looked at last year's part, it was more scripted to really get people prepared to dive into this Rotterdam Capital Day. So you had this ultimate goal to prepare people to be ready to, let's say, either pitch or show your business plan, pitch deck, whatever you need in order to present yourself to these funders. And this month was more open. So there was more freedom of thinking, what is growing? Is it about growing your business? Is it about growing yourself? Is it about growing your network? Mm-hmm. Growing can be a really broad theme. So there was a little bit more freedom into the topics we could use and also bring into the sessions, and a little bit less scripted. And I think that both is nice. With the first ones you have some ultimate goals, and here it's more in the open. So you get surprised more often by things. For instance, I think 2 weeks ago we had this pitching session. I don't know the exact name anymore, but open stage or open mic. And there were some international entrepreneurs, and at the beginning I just talked with them and I thought, probably they just have a nice idea and they want to pitch here in front of a mic. But then they went there for the pitch. It were really well prepared, really good businesses, actually revenue. I was really surprised by the level of expertise these people had. Now, this was also fun for me.
And I think what I thought was different from last year also is that there is now actually much more interest and much more focus on the people and the organizational side. So I mean, personally, I like that because it's about how and not the technology of things. I mean, if you don't have anything to sell, then you can make a nice pitch deck, but it won't work. So I really like that the focus for me this year, I think, is more getting on the real issues. So why am I successful or not? Which for me is the basis of everything.
Looking back at the past month, is there any particular information that you find this is information that everyone should know and think about when they think about growth?
Well, I think for me the most important thing was that more and more people start to understand that growth is not about quantity but about quality. So it's not about the size, but it's about the quality. And I think if that's something that is coming through, then I really think that's really nice. So we have to stop looking at growing something as a purpose and getting bigger and looking more at what are we actually doing.
Yeah, I think that is really well said. Like, growing is not a goal, it's a mean to really solve the problems. You are enthusiastic, passionate, or whatever you want to call it. I think that we had a discussion before that passionate is a little bit of a hype term. Everybody is passionate. It's about just also solving something which actually, well, what people are willing to pay for, these kinds of things. So yeah, you see that people recognize that it's not all about, well, funding, or it's all about business plans or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really something, good, I would say, for people here.
Yeah. And I think that's why the growth part is getting more interest also. That people understand, okay, well, if I get through the first stage alive, it doesn't really matter if you're an independent entrepreneur or whatever, that you actually have to keep on moving. I like Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay stuff. So we're doing some stuff around strategy, and I like this idea is that you have to move. Yeah. So he almost never got hit because he was always moving. So I like this idea of you can have a plan today, you can have an idea today, you can have a product today, but if you don't look at it, you don't move it, you don't throw it away in time, then. So I think this idea of looking at the right tools, and how long are they valid. So when I was young, a strategy was 10 years or 15 years. Now, I mean, a strategy can change from 1 month to another. You have to drop things and do something else. But the core of the success is with whom are you going to do it. Yeah. And that's the long-term relationship, because you have to be able to trust people, and they have to have your interest at heart. And I think actually choosing the right people, that comes back all the time. We have discussed it before, and also with Anushka, is that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if it's personal or business. I meet so many people that have chosen the wrong investors, the wrong founders, the wrong whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And then you stop.
Time for the shameless self-plugging. What are you guys up to?
So as Symbid, we are one of the, let's say, Rotterdam we are in the Rotterdam ecosystem of entrepreneurs. So we try to be everywhere where Rotterdam entrepreneurs are, but of course also in other cities where you can find us at symbid.nl. And in the end, we are just there for every entrepreneur who wants to grow and thinks that investment, of course, is relevant for that. To tap in on Tony's thing, I think that not everybody should contact us. There are also a lot of people who should not think about investment, just do it on themselves. But I can also help you with tips and tricks on that. So just go to Google, LinkedIn, you'll find me. Shouldn't be too hard.
We'll link you as well.
That's even easier.
Well, for me it's rather easy if you're really serious about building a profitable business and be happy at the same time. Then you can find me on LinkedIn, and if you just want to drink coffee with me, don't waste my time and forget it. You can read my books, you can ask me things, and so my passion is helping as many people as possible to get off the ground and to be happy at the same time. So you can link in with me or call me at 0634 and then other numbers.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Are you have anything you would like to add?
Happy like this.
Yeah.
Until next time.